Yeah, are you recording? It's T from the V, spotting Jordans. Like my man behind the camera is Tiago, plays guitar. My name is Tumi from Tumi and The Volume, and you're watching. Stay tuned.
Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien. Vous êtes sur Stay Tuned bien évidemment, nouveau numéro avec des nouveaux invités. Tumi and The Volume.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. How you fine?
We're good.
All good, man. Thanks for having us.
Le groupe Tumi and The Volume est natif de Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Il se compose de 4 individus. Il y a Tumi au microphone, MC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave à la basse, Thiago à la guitare et Polo à la batterie.
Batterie.
Yes. Vous avez sorti 3 albums, Live at the Baseline en 2004, un album éponyme Tumi and The Volume en 2006,
Yeah.
et en 2010, votre 3e album en cours, Pick a Dream.
Pick a Dream.
Ouais. Moi, la première question que je vais vous poser, c'est qu'avez-vous voulu véhiculer à travers la pochette du disque Pick a Dream?
Wow, I think, you know, that with the image of the guy with the head off, it's really, the idea is just to kind of don't lose your head, you know, in trying to search for your dream and trying to be the person that you want to be. That's the literal meaning of like just the image of the CD.
Justement, là je reviens avec la deuxième question qui va un petit peu dans le même sens. Le disque s'intitule Pick a Dream. Pensez-vous que l'être humain a parfois tendance à s'écarter un petit peu de leur rêve le plus?
I think that a simple example is, for instance, in South Africa, someone you know was in a struggle for liberation. You know, was in a struggle to fight against apartheid. So he fights against apartheid, and that was his dream. His dream was to live in a free South Africa, and he fights that struggle. And you know, we get a society like we have in South Africa, which is like free and, you know, great constitution. And but then, you know, he becomes a politician, and maybe some pressures of, you know, within politics, he doesn't quite know, because he was a soldier or because, you know, his journey was a different one. When he's in politics, he doesn't know how to maneuver politics, so he starts to maybe exploit people, you know, he starts to become a capitalist, a really aggressive one. And so, you know, like, he becomes his own enemy.
Lorsqu'on écoute le précédent album, était beaucoup plus acoustique, et celui-ci, Pick a Dream, est un peu moins acoustique au niveau des drums, au niveau des batteries. Ouais, pourquoi?
I think this album actually has more drums, but it has more drums being programmed, and it was a less. It's less played. It's more. Everything was kind of set on a computer and made. The beats was made in a more traditional hip hop sense, whereas our other album was made in more of a jazz kind of sense, where we would do long takes. There's one important thing that you have to understand. Our first album was made. Our first studio album was made during 5 months, and this album was made during 2 weeks. There's a big difference. So on the first album, the first studio album, we actually had time to play tracks again and again and again. We would do entire drum takes, we'd do bass, guitar, everything. On this album, everything was bang, bang, bang. We would get to the studio in the morning. We knew that we had to do 2 songs. We would program a lot of things. We got musicians to play a lot of the parts. So the process was completely different. It's and we wanted to. We're the type of band who really feels the need to explore different avenues. Every time we go to studio, every time we go on a tour, we want to change things up a bit. We want to not change better or worse, but just feel like there's a change and also offer people a different side of us.
See cup and it wasn't no gas. Toilet seat up without no gas. Born to be up, what got you scared? Insecure about what you wear and the bullshit said and what you read. You see the biggest names in moving picture frames. They live the life, you just a wife, you wanna feel the same. You see them rise to fame, then watch them fall from grace. Dysfunctional.
Ce nouvel album est sorti au mois d'avril dernier. Là, ça fait mai, juin, juillet, septembre, 6 mois que l'album est sorti. Quels ont été les retours?
I think radio responds a little bit better to this album because, like he said, the first one or the first studio one was a little bit more acoustic or a little bit more liver. So a lot of like the urban radio, they kind of struggle to play Justin Timberlake and then play something that sounds a little bit more liver, or you know, the sound spectrum is not the same. And with this, we wanted to achieve that kind of sound where it was like it's compatible with contemporary hip-hop music, you know. So a lot of the criticism has been like, on the positive light, it's been like, yeah, it's easier for people, but on a more like maybe negative, it's been like a lot of people who know us and know that for first album they're like, yeah, this is a more pop album, you know. Maybe not negative, but they just feel like it's a little bit more accessible, yeah, mainstream, exactly.
But everyone who criticizes the new album badly, when they go to our shows, they see this other facet that they're missing on the album. So there's kind of these two worlds between what we made on this new album and our live show. And we would like to get people kind of it's good to have these two dimensions of music. So a lot of the people, even though a lot of the media has been saying, oh, what a great album, sensational songs, a lot of our initial core fans were talking about the album, saying, it's not the same thing, we prefer the other one. But when they go to our live shows, they still get the same feeling from the other album, with new songs, which is good.
Je sais que vous avez de nombreuses influences, mais quelles sont vos influences principales?
Well, I mean, hip-hop, of course, but I think, that's, hip-hop, the idea of hip-hop is always, because it samples from so much and because it borrows and because rappers talk about everything, just from hip-hop, I've been exposed to all types of music, coming from hip-hop, and as a result, it's jazz, soul music, it's like, even a lot of like, from growing up, just South African music and, extending into African music, the Fellas, the Umasikellas. But, specifically hip hop as an MC, it's definitely your more, MCs who are a little bit more thought out, Native Tongues, KRS-One, Black Thought. Black Thought's a beast, Quav as well. And, because it feels like these MCs, they care, they care about the people they come from, and that's important for me, because like that's why I started writing, because otherwise I could have just rapped MC Hammer lyrics. It was just it served the same purpose. It was like, but when I understood that my story, that my grandmother's story and all these people's story is a story I wanted to hear. I don't hear that story. Young people not saying that, so that's what I started to write. And that's important for me. It's like you give yourself so you can share and be part of other people.
Living my life like a good change on this day. One life to live. So I started my own family, got a home for the kids, for my job at the factory. Made do with my low salary. It's so hard to believe we got out these top shit streets, cause we act great, strong, real hard, make songs, thank God, it's like King Kong.
Est-ce que vous pouvez raconter un petit peu la rencontre qu'il y a eu entre Milk Coffee et Sugar? Parce qu'on les a déjà interviewés, et vous, tout simplement?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing about touring and going to new places is that, you know, you'll always get exposed to either you're open for a band or they open for you, or you're out, you know, about in the town and you see an amazing band. So Milk, Coffee and Sugar, the one rapper, Gael from Milk, Coffee and Sugar, knew Tiago through, I think, a mutual friend, and he came to see us, and, you know, he was like, yo, he really liked the music, and he asked if we could come see them, and, you know, I heard some of their stuff and I was like blown away by it. And, you know, just the idea, because I know a lot of like old French music. I am, you know, Solar, and I wasn't really familiar with, you know, aside from like Booba, you know, I wasn't really familiar with like newer stuff, like, you know, contemporary, you know, French hip hop. You know, I mean, I think the last thing that I heard was like Cyan, you know, Super Crew. That was the last time before, you know, before Fefe and all this, you know. So when I heard them and the kind of things that they deal with in their music, lyrics and the flow and the music as well, just like, yo, yeah, I'm down. I like, you know, they have they care musically and otherwise. They care about the same things that I care about, like rhythm, flow, you know, depth in the music, and also like the lyrics are very, you know.
They also have a very good energy, themselves. It's like nice. It's immediately when you sit with someone you haven't even heard their music. There's a way about them.
Sincere, you know.
They're very sincere people. They're very like, in a way, they're like us, and we clicked immediately. The second time we went to have dinner at one of their houses, it felt like we were like old-time friends, that we had known each other for 5 years, and it's kind of special when you get to make music with people like that.
L'Afrique du Sud a été mise en première ligne au mois de juin, par rapport au football, grâce à la Coupe du Monde, et je voulais savoir s'il y a eu des effets positifs après justement le passage de cette Coupe du Monde en Afrique du Sud.
Maybe not immediately, yeah, maybe not immediate, you know, but I think definitely in terms of tourism, the kind of exposure that South Africa got as a country, I think that it might also have changed some people's perception of South Africa, because a lot of times you say South Africa, people think crime, violence, death, you know, and I think that when people were watching, they were like, okay, maybe, you know, it looks like it's in Germany or France, or, you know, at least in the stadium, you know, and all the other shows attached to it, the cultural shows, that kind of thing, expose people to a different, you know, picture of South Africa that, you know, people might not have otherwise been exposed to if it wasn't for the World Cup. So in that way, yeah, definitely, you know, those are the kind of things. And because I'm a musician and an artist, you know, symbolism and images are very important to me, you know, so those things, you know, they are very important, and I add a lot of currency to them, but, you know, there are also other things. We are also citizens, you know, of South Africa. We're also citizens, and I think it's as responsible, active citizens, it's important to be able to look at things and say, okay, you know, it was good, and symbolism is amazing, but also, you know, some things, you know, like for instance, something simple like a lot of the companies that support or that FIFA is involved with made money from apartheid, in the apartheid regime. You know, they made a lot of money during apartheid. Maybe, you know, and even deeper, you can go like, you know, some of the things. You know, we changed laws for FIFA. We changed laws for the World Cup. You know, we built stadiums. It cost a lot of money. You know, it's not like a World Cup in South Africa is not the same as a World Cup in Germany. In Germany, they have infrastructure, they have all these things. In South Africa, yeah, we have good roads now because of the World Cup. It's amazing. But we also have these stadiums that, you know, are probably not going to get used again. And just that money maybe to build a couple hospitals, maybe to schools, you know. But, you know, but that's, you know.
To get to the moon, every man and woman got their own 10-minute zoom. Your people have the light generator glow in the room. I hear the wind whisper, love, I'll be coming home soon. You shed a little light for me to see. I hope and trust you wouldn't lie to me. The glow in us could and might just be. Hey yo, sooner than you thought board. We'll be floating out, taking lunar walks out.
Je vais vous donner quelques mots et faudra me donner un petit peu vos ressentis par rapport à ces mots. La Réunion.
Daniel Waru. Daniel Waru?
Ouais.
Yeah, and he's a singer of Maloya music from, yeah, and
La lutte.
Ellen Nana Mulekani. That's the name of my mother.
Struggle. Samora Machel, I think.
Samora Machel?
He was the first president of Mozambique. He fought the independence in Mozambique, and 10 years later died in a plane crash where almost everyone died in that plane.
Et les mots.
Power, force, power, force. Words, you know, they're not just these things on a paper to me. They're actual life. You know, when people say things, they actually bring them into life. You know, and very important to me.
Et le mot de la fin.
Yo, thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your participation.
Thank you, man. Thank you. There you go.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.